Hey guys, Tucker Bow, tech writer at Gear Patrol here, and I've stolen a lot of stuff from my dad over the years. We're the same size, and so obviously I have clothes, jackets, and stuff like that. But most recently, I've been getting into vinyl. I bought my first record player and speaker setup probably like 7 or 8 months ago, and I've been recently stealing all my dad's old records. He's got about 200 stored away that he never uses because he doesn't have a setup here in New Jersey where I'm quarantining. But yeah, I've been slowly shepherding him from New Jersey to my apartment in New York, and he's got like just a bunch of like old goodies from his high school and college days. So I got Allman Brothers, a lot of Bruce Springsteen, Boston, Beatles, Aretha Franklin, kind of all the kind of old good jams that they listened to back in the day. Fortunately, I've been able to, slowly but surely steal them from him, and yeah, it's just kind of a great little hobby to get into. So thanks, Dad.
My dad is extremely patient and a very go with the flow individual, which is pretty great because I am pretty much the opposite of that and very type A. So I'm wearing his Brant Lake hat. Brant Lake is in upstate New York in the Adirondacks, and it's one of my dad's favorite places in the world to go. He got this hat when he was probably in 8th or 9th grade, so back in like 69, 70, and he's had it ever since. None of us in my entire family have seen any other hats like it, and it's pretty special to him. It was a Christmas gift that he got from his aunt, and he's worn it every single winter ever since. So how I came to have this hat is growing up, my brother and I would always fight over who would get to wear it on the rare occasion my dad was not wearing it. And as we've both gotten older, we've become slightly more creative with our requests to borrow the hat. Obviously, right now is not the best time to be wearing this hat, but it's pretty much the perfect hat to wear all winter long, especially when it snows, when you're out on the mountain and you need friends and family or whoever you're with to find you. It's super easy to be like, hey, look for me, I'm the one in the red hat with the pom-pom. Very rarely will you find someone that has a hat just like this. Thanks, Dad. I promise to return the hat.
My dad has always been into doing things outside, doing adventurous things like skiing and scuba diving and horseback riding and camping. Starting in high school, I think, when I first started going camping on my own trips, I would borrow this tent that I'm sitting in right now from him on weekends, and I'd always give it back. And then at some point in college, I went into his garage when he wasn't home, and I borrowed the tent again, and I still haven't given it back. But at that time, I was just using it to go camping with friends, go to music festivals. After college, I actually ended up living in this for part of a summer. That's a different story. But this tent has got to be decades old, and it still works really well. There's not a single hole in it. There's no tears. It's been through multiple rainstorms that I can attest to, so I'm sure that it's been through many more when he was its primary owner. But yeah, I don't use it anymore because I have since bought my own tent. I bought one a little newer, which means it's a lot smaller once you pack it down, and it's a lot lighter when you throw it in a backpack. So I camp in that more often, but this is still a great tent. You can pack 4 people in here. I think we've packed 6 people in here back in high school and college, and you get nice and cozy and warm in the woods. So even though I don't use it, thanks, Dad, for letting me borrow it and hang on to it, even though I don't think you really know that I did that. Happy Father's Day.
So when I was in middle school, I signed up for a film photography class as a general elective. And when my dad heard that, we went to his office and he pulled out this old Nikon EM that he had bought for a photojournalism course in college. And it kind of just sat around since then. He kind of fooled around with it afterwards, but it kind of just didn't mesh with he had gone into construction, and it kind of sparked a little further interest in me, and it's something that I've kind of treasured and use still to this day as my go-to film camera. So it's just a very basic 35mm. EM stands for economy model, and it was a very entry-level Nikon that they made in the late 70s and early 80s. It's got a 50mm lens on it, and it's got the body seals on the back. Definitely weathered after years, and there's some interesting light leaks that I've kind of learned how to take advantage of over time and can kind of really use them to my benefit in certain lighting situations. So there's nothing special about it other than it's mine and it was my dad's. This really helped spark my interest in photography, and it's something I still use to this day, and I cherish it. So thanks for that, Dad. I really appreciate it, and happy Father's Day to you and to all the dads out there.
Those who know me at Gear Patrol know that I'm super into bikes. It should come as no surprise that the piece of gear that I commandeered from my dad is a bicycle. It's a giant iguana, or was a giant iguana. I originally took it in college as my kind of like ride around campus bike. Kind of like changed it out to flat bars and had put slick tires on it. It's originally like an early 90s mountain bike. I made a couple changes that made it more friendly for campus, rode it around, rode it to death, left it outside, locked up. It rusted. It just got completely destroyed, as many college students do their bikes. Recently, earlier this year, I actually decided to revisit that bike again and stripped it down completely to the frame, tried to get as much rust off of it as possible. I swapped it to drop bars, put new tires on it. Pretty much everything's new. New derailleur, new shifters, pretty much full restoration, and made it kind of like more of like a city cruiser, around town bike with some kind of like cool funky parts on there as well. Kind of like trying to bring it back to its former glory. When I originally first kind of got involved with that bike, when I first knew it, me and my dad used to go out mountain biking all the time. He was the one that took me out mountain biking for the first time. We kind of like went around on all these fire roads in New Jersey, and I fell in love with the sport there. And this was the bike that kind of made that all possible. So I have very fond memories of the green giant bike. Thank you, Dad, for letting me steal your bike, and happy Father's Day.
I inherited my love of reading and books from my dad. He's actually an English professor, so ever since I was younger, for as long as I remember, I've just been surrounded by books and literature. One of our favorite pastimes when I was growing up was actually going to the library. I just remember loving being able to adventure with my dad through these books. It was such a formative part of my life. I actually studied English in college, and in many ways, I think working at Gear Patrol, I'm constantly telling stories about products and brands, and I think that love of reading and storytelling has really, shaped my career. But the product I'm talking about is actually quite controversial in the book world. I have a Kindle. This is actually a very recent inherited product. I actually inherited this Kindle from my older brother, who's in many ways also another father figure in my life. And I was always anti-Kindle just because I love the look and feel and smell of books. Nothing really beats it, flipping through the pages, but the convenience of a Kindle is truly unmatched. I do have to say, I'll give him that. Not a substitute for books, obviously, but a great addition to a book lover's collection. I love reading on my Kindle, I love flipping through books, and I'm super, super appreciative of a family that has continued to feed my love of storytelling all throughout my life. Happy Father's Day!
My dad knows sheenery. That's a term he uses to refer to anything mechanical or electrical, and there's literally nothing that he can't build or fix. I saw this a lot growing up, whether he was helping me build a skate ramp or replacing the serpentine belt on his 1982 Dodge Ram B250 van, which he personally kitted out with a fridge, a sleeping compartment, a TV, and even a toilet for family adventures. A couple years ago, on a chilly November day when I called him to say that my 2014 Triumph Bonneville T100 wouldn't run, it didn't take him long to figure out what was wrong. It's a cold, dead battery. And then a few days later, this thing showed up in the mail. This is a Schumacher automatic 10 amp battery charger. That's a model SE50M. I have my doubts, but he says, take the battery out of the Bonneville, bring it up to your apartment, hook it up to this thing, and it'll come back to life. So using my meager wrenching skills, I managed to do that. I hooked it up to these little guys, followed some tips that he gave me about voltage and properly doing this so as not to electrocute myself, And a few hours later, I put that battery back in, and what do you know? Vroom vroom. So thanks, Dad, for always sharing your well-worn wisdom, Sheenery and non-Sheenery related, and happy Father's Day.
I do a lot of photo and video work for Gear Patrol and also in my spare time. And believe it or not, I do it all using a tripod that's slightly older than I am. It's one I got from my dad. Well, he didn't really give it to me, I just sort of took it. This is it. It was a gift from my mom shortly after they were married, so in the early 80s. And my dad was an amateur photographer at the time. He was doing a lot of really great work for fun and for our family. Grew up 40s, 50s in Detroit and got to see a lot of change in the world, and he documented a lot of that along the way. So it's really cool that I'm able to use this guy for all the stuff that I do, because now he's able to watch videos and see photos that I take using his old tripod. It's by a company called Velbon. It's aluminum, it's lightweight, it has every sort of basic feature you could want. The shoe is really tough. It holds a heavy camera. I use a Canon 5D with a lot of different lenses, and it's no problem. It has really smooth action and adjusts really well, and it's super sturdy, and it's held up over time. You can still get tripods from Velbon for $50 or $60. They're pretty inexpensive, but I don't really have a need to upgrade because this one's perfect. So thanks, Dad, and happy Father's Day.
Is this recording? Hi guys, my name's Hunter. I'm a designer at Gear Patrol, and today I'm going to tell you about my 1983 Univega Gran Premio. My dad's mostly a trail runner, but once, very long ago, he was a road cyclist. He bought this bike back in 1983, and unfortunately, it was shortly retired thereafter. He just had too many close calls with other cars, and if you're a road cyclist, you definitely know how that feels. So, 1984, it goes into the basement, and it wasn't until 2018, so recently, that we took it out. I wanted to get into road cycling. I didn't have a lot of money. I couldn't afford a carbon bike yet, so just wanted to get my feet wet. So I remembered he had this bike in the basement, so I dusted it off. Other than a few wear items, the bike was in absolutely perfect shape because he only rode it for a year maybe. When I was restoring the bike, I stumbled across an old catalog photo of Univega back in 1983, and I tried to match the bike perfectly to the same tire color they had, the same bar tape color they had, the same saddle color they had. I just really wanted the bike to look exactly how it did when it was new. It rode phenomenally. As they say, steel is real, and this bike was no different. After 300 or 400 miles, I had the bug and I had the itch to upgrade. So while I don't ride the bike anymore, and I've since upgraded to a carbon bike with carbon wheels, I can thank my dad for helping me get my toes wet and finding the deep rabbit hole that is road cycling. Thanks, Dad, and happy Father's Day.